center of the crisis, Hyun-jin, the oldest living son. For a long time, he was widely regarded as his father's anointed heir. But during the last decade, Reverend Moon made his youngest son, Hyung-jin, head of his spiritual empire. Fourth son, Kuk-jin, was put in charge of the church's $2 billion business arm, the Tongil Foundation. It's Sunday, and Moon's followers have gathered at the church in Seoul. But the Reverend no longer leads the service. He's given the job to his youngest son and spiritual heir, Hyung-jin.
아무리 우리는 완벽한 삶을 살았어도 우리는 사실 하나님 앞에 불신과 의심.
Observers say Hyung-jin's approach is a lot less formal than his father's. He's been credited with bringing a much younger vibe to the church.
He's changed his worship style, which is somewhat work positively. It helps new members, younger members, and the newcomers to be more familiar with the Unification Church
but
worship
during the
style.
last decade, Reverend Moon made his youngest son, Hyung-jin, head of his spiritual empire. Fourth son, Kuk-jin, was put in charge of the church's $2 billion business arm, the Tongil Foundation. Hyun-jin was effectively sidelined.
It's been very difficult. I was very close to my older brother for many years, and he's had a very difficult time accepting the decision which my father has made. My elder brother and his wife's family is in a situation where they have been in disobedience to my father. And so from the church's doctrine, that's not, as a church perspective, that's not in line with our doctrine. Nearly 100% of the members are with my father. What my father is not able to control is One Church Foundation, because my brother and his wife's family, which is Dr. Kwok's family, controls the board of directors in that foundation, and that foundation has many church assets. The problem is that we are a church, and the assets which are in this church are the contributions of all the members of the church. And so really my father doesn't have any choice but to protect the assets of the church. And neither do I. My father worked very hard to assist Ronald Reagan to be elected. And Ronald Reagan, under his presidency, led the largest military buildup in US history in the modern age. And as a result of that strength of America and the power of America and the strength of American arms, the world saw peace, not war. And the Soviet Union collapsed. The Berlin Wall came down, and we had peace.
For Kuk-jin, it's been a busy few years. While his younger brother took care of the church, he was charged with overhauling the church's financial arm. The Tongil Foundation had been deeply affected by the Asian financial crisis, and in 2004 was on the verge of disintegrating. Companies like Ilwa, which produces drinks and ginseng products, were barely viable.
And when we started the restructuring process, we actually were making a very significant loss. In terms of operating profit, we were probably losing, according to the financial statements, more than $40 million. We've been able to make the business group much more self-sustainable. And we've brought it to a point where the businesses now are no longer a burden to our church, but are actually a help to our church, and they're able to contribute to our church.
Over the past few years, Kuk-jin and Hyung-jin have worked hard to establish themselves. This footage from 2009, provided by the Unification Church, shows the brothers hosting the 20th anniversary celebrations of the Seige Times, a paper founded by their father. Attending the event, top politicians and business leaders from South Korea.
Having defined the essence of God, my Father, the true parent of all humanity and the Peace King, has empowered us to resemble God and become one with Him. It is from this understanding that my Father has proclaimed that we are one family under God, and it is from this truth that my Father has given the motto of love heaven, love mankind, love nation to the Second Times.
The paper, like many other companies under the Tongol Foundation, was set up to promote Reverend Moon's ideas. Over the past few years, Moon has turned his attention away from defeating communism to promoting what he calls a strong Korea. Managing editor Kang Ho-won is clear about his mandate.
우리 그 재단에서 강한 대한민국을 이제 그 추진하고 있는데 이 강한 대한민국이라고 결국 이제 남북 통일과 그 한국 사회의 미래 비전에 대한 그 이야기입니다. 그리고 그 주변 국가 그 평화로운 관계를 어떻게 하면 유지시킬 수 있을 것인가 하는 그게 우리 굉장히 큰 화두 중에 하나입니다.
My father has directed me to work on educating people throughout Korea about the need for Korea to be strong. And so that we can make a stronger nation, a stronger democracy, which has enough military power and defense power to preserve our national security and to defend ourselves from possible overreaching of other neighbors.
Like his father, Kuk-jin clearly doesn't believe in doing things in half measures. He recently acquired Shinjong, a small defense manufacturer located in Ulsan, a 2-hour train ride from Seoul. The company produces military vehicles. Clients so far include the Indonesian police and Egyptian Air Force. It hopes eventually to supply the Korean military. To non-believers, it might seem like a contradiction. Reverend Moon calls himself the King of Peace, and yet he's not averse to selling weapons of war.
We believe that peace is preserved through strength, and that if you want to have peace, you actually have to prepare for war. We have been very misunderstood by society in general for a lot of years. And in Korea, many of our church members were not able to get jobs if they expressed their religion, or some of them were fired if they were found out to be members of our church. Well, our hope is that society can respect our religious beliefs